Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show, a real estate investment program. Listen and learn how to use real estate to build wealth and passive income streams for you and your family. We bring you experts every day to discuss and answer your questions on everything from single-family homes all the way up to 600-plus unit apartment complexes. And now, the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Good afternoon. This is David Ruzicka, your Lifestyles Unlimited host. Glad to be with you today. We're working on your financial freedom. My guest today is Chris Wyatt, and you really want to hear him today because he retired himself in 3 years and 7 months. He did that through single-family and multifamily investing. He did something else. He's a little bit of a hero. He was driven by a desire and a need to take care of his family that needed more care than your average family, and he's done so with great success, great father, great husband, and he does something else really remarkable. He buys single-family houses in the Dallas market at $15,000 out of pocket when other people are paying $30,000, $40,000, $60,000 out of pocket. And then as a mentor for Lifestyles Unlimited, for single-family investing, he teaches other people to do that. So really glad to have him with me today. If you have questions for Chris, you can call into the show, 855-497-4335. I'm going to repeat that, 855-497-4335. Chris, glad to have you with us today. I want you to kind of introduce yourself. Tell us about your background, your education, and more importantly, what you were doing for retirement before you became a member of Lifestyles Unlimited.
Yeah, sure. Hey, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. Little background on me. I went to college, did the 4-year university thing, got out of college and started working. Got an entry-level job. Within a year and a half, I moved up into management. Did that for about 3 years, moved on to senior management. Did that for another 3 years and moved on to executive management. Did that for about 4 years. And in the meantime, we had been doing some real estate investing. So I was climbing the corporate ladder and trying to get ahead that way. You'd asked about retirement. We had started a 401k at my first job, and as soon as I found Lifestyles Unlimited and real estate investing, we quit putting money into our 401k, and we channeled everything into the real estate investments.
Gotcha. But before Lifestyles Unlimited, did you do any real estate investing? Did you have any background in real estate at all?
I had no background other than I had probably consumed 50 or 60 real estate books and spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours reading about it.
Wow, why did you do that?
Real estate intrigued me. I knew it was a vessel that was going to get me to where I wanted to be. I just didn't know how to make it work.
Okay. And I'm just curious, just a real quick answer. Were you raised with more of that middle-class mindset? You're going to go to college and you're going to work at a job until you retire? Or were you surrounded by some more entrepreneurial influences in your life growing up?
No, it was always go to school, get a job, and climb that ladder.
Okay. So what caused you to switch and think about real estate and more of that, what we call actually a real estate investor mindset or a millionaire mindset around lifestyles?
I didn't like climbing the ladder. It wasn't fun climbing the ladder. It's hard work climbing that ladder, and there's a lot of people pulling me down.
Yeah, simple answer to a simple question. Hey, so tell us, you found Lifestyles as a young man. I think you said 27 years old. Tell us how you found Lifestyles Unlimited and kind of your experience going to the free workshop and then going to the 2-day class.
Yeah, so let's see. I heard about it on the radio. I was driving around. I think I was on jury duty. Heard it. Looked at my wife and said, I'm going to go next week. She was heading off out of town. It was a Saturday class. Lori taught it, and Lori is one of the single-family mentors that I work with now in the North Texas market. So she taught the course. I was all excited. I went home. I did my goals and everything, and then life kind of got in the way, and I ended up not buying anything.
This is after the 2-day class. Now, do you remember what your goals were? Do you remember any of those goals now?
Yeah, we were going to have an 11-plex and 17 single-family homes, and we were going to ride off into the sunset.
Well, that's good. You had it pretty specific. Now, you got sidetracked. You actually, like you just referred to, you didn't do any investing for a while because I like the way you say life got in the way. But you had a little bit more than the average person has in life when you say life got in the way. And I really want people to listen to this because if you're making excuses, you need to quit making excuses and get on the ball. So tell us how life got in the way for you.
Yeah, my wife and I got the surprise of our lives, and she was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 27. She'd gone in for pretty much a routine doctor's appointment. They came back and said, you've got something going on in your throat. You need to have it checked out. And we went to a specialist, and they checked it out and said, 98% of these come back benign. You'll be fine. And she was part of that 2% that came back malignant. So she had stage 3 thyroid cancer at 27. This was like 6 weeks after the birth of our third child. And that kind of sidetracked us for a bit. And it gave us a lot of clarity on what we wanted for our future, though, which is how we've ended up where we're at today.
So what did you say clarity? Now, you also had some challenges with your kids as well, and on top of that, right?
Yeah, shortly after we got my wife situated and got all cleaned up from that, we got a diagnosis on our second born that he has a genetic deletion, and he was going to be mentally incapacitated. So he's 11 now. Physically, he's fine, but he has the mentality of about a 4-year-old, and he progresses very slowly, but he'll never leave home. So we started factoring in that we needed to have some kind of legacy plan. We need to make sure that he's taken care of well beyond our parting. And, life continues to throw curveballs at us. Over the last about 2 years or so, we've come to grips that our third born, our daughter, has some mental incapacities as well. And she's going to be home with us until our parting as well. So two of our 4 kids have special needs, and we are going to be making sure they're taken care of while we're with them and long after our parting.
So you have a big why in your life. I mean, taking care of your wife because she had cancer, taking care of these kids that you want to make sure that they're taken care of after you exit the stage, I guess I would say. And I want to continue and talk about how that influenced you and motivated you to move forward right after the break. So stay with us, folks. You're going to hear a great story here.
Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Now, let's get back to your map to financial freedom.
Glad to be with you today. This is David Ruzicka with Lifestyles Unlimited, working on your financial freedom. I want to hit on one thing. We're talking to Chris Wyatt, who before the break was telling us about the fact that he actually found Lifestyles Unlimited at age 27 and was ready to go, went to the free workshop and was ready and amped up, ready to go and get started. I want to invite you to go to freeworkshoplivestream.com. It's freeworkshoplivestream.com and sign up for one of our workshops if you've not been to one before. I'm actually going to do the one on March 5th. That's this Friday at noon. And so if that works for you, everything is live streamed right now. So you can go sign up for that. Love to have you on there. We're going to talk about the 5 ways that we make money with real estate and the principles that we use to run our businesses. And it just kind of struck me as we were talking. Now, it's interesting that Chris went to the free workshop. He went to the 2-day seminar and had all the information he needed to start investing. And then life threw him a curveball, as he said, a wife with cancer and a couple of special needs kids. And then needed to have, he had a big why. And the big why is he needs to take care of his family and be able to create a legacy and take care of his kids even after he's gone. Now, you might say, as a pastor for 22 years, I would say that's not a coincidence. I think God put that in place and had him at that free workshop. Whether you believe in God or not, that's not the issue. Maybe it's just chance, whatever you want to call it, but really set things up for him nicely to go to the next step. So, Chris, go ahead and tell us. And you said in August 2014, you guys went ahead and became challenge members. Tell us what led up to that decision, and then your wife, she gave you a big challenge right there at the beginning.
She did, yeah. My wife has always been 100% supportive and kind of the engine behind this. So we made the decision, after me tinkering around for 3 years, after having the education from the free workshop and what Lifestyles brings in, and I hadn't bought anything. And if you can remember the buying between 2011 and 2014, we missed a huge opportunity, even though life had thrown us those curveballs. But we sat down, we signed the paperwork, we joined the challenge program, and as the ink is drying, my wife looked at me and she said, "You've got 30 days to make your first purchase."
That's a big challenge. So how did you get your first purchase? How did you find it? What did you do?
We used the program to to the fullest. 27 days later, we contracted on our first property. It was down in Mansfield, and it came from a Lifestyles realty agent. They blasted it out over email to the members, and we picked one up that way.
And where did you get the money? You told me something the other day on the phone. Basically, you had a small amount of money and a negative net worth at that point. Explain that statement.
Yeah, we had about $60,000 in the bank, and with cars, mortgage, that kind of thing. So our net worth, which I've tracked really since the day we got married back in 2005, it was negative at that point. It didn't mean that we didn't have cash. I mean, we had cash. We just had a bigger mortgage than what we had in cash.
Sure. And let's go ahead and tell the end of the book, ballpark, what is your net worth now so people understand. And this was 2014. You're talking about a negative net worth, right? And so what is in 2021, what is your net worth ballpark?
We're upwards of $2 million at this point.
$2 million. So everybody that is listening and you're worried about where you are financially right now, you can't do anything about what you've done to get to where you are, but you can do a lot about where you go from here. And so I want you to listen to Chris. So you buy this first house. Can you tell us about the house and what was your result with that?
Yeah, it was a good little three bed, 2-bath home. Had a converted garage and a pool. Needed foundation work. Needed plumbing work. It hadn't been updated since it was built in the 1970s. So we did the full rigmarole on it. We fixed the foundation. We fixed the plumbing. We filled in the pool. We did everything that Lifestyles taught us. And we finished the rehab on December 29th. Everyone told me it's going to take forever to lease it out because it's over the holidays. We signed a lease on January 3rd, 5 days later, for full market price asking.
Why were you able to do that? Because that's the number one question people ask is, what if I buy a property, I rehab it, and then I can't get a renter in there? Why were you able to do that so quickly?
Lifestyles has a mantra of best product, best price. So we put out the best product, and we didn't try to get over market rent. We went for market rent, and it still cash flowed us $450 a month. We didn't try to oversell the property. We sold it for really average rent. And it leased up super fast.
That's great. That's great. And folks, as you're listening, we teach you how to analyze the house before you ever buy it. So you don't buy it and then realize, oh my goodness, I need to make more money on it than what is feasible. You're going to know going into it what a good market for best product and best price is going to be as you go into the deal. And Chris is one of those mentors that teaches people how to do that. Tell us about your next steps along there. You bought that first house within 30 days. That's good. And then where'd you go from there?
Yeah, so we leased that house out in January, and we went to contract on our next house in February. And have really been buying very consistently and selling off our portfolio ever since.
And you say buying and selling. Why would you sell a property? I talk to people all the time. They've owned a property they say, I've owned 5 rentals for 15 years. They're all paid off. I've got all cash on them, and they're giving me really good cash flow. What's wrong with that kind of thinking?
I don't want to go too much in the weeds, but ultimately, the longer you hold the property, the more equity you have in it, which is your basis in that property, you end up having diminished returns. So over time, as your positions grow in these homes and even apartment communities, you need to either refinance or sell them and double down. And that's why you have rule number 3 that Del Walmsley teaches in his seminars. You can't get rich slow in this business.
Be specific. How did you do that? How did you go from a negative net worth to $2 million through investing? And I think you told me you bought something just about every quarter. Was that correct since then?
Yeah, pretty much. Either it's been a passive deal, our own syndications, been raising money and buying apartment communities or single-family homes. So we've been very aggressive at it. We've been very aggressive at what kind of numbers we're looking for, what kind of returns we're looking for. And just very consistent. So, we typically hold the properties somewhere between 1 to 4 years. And as soon as we have enough equity, as soon as we've doubled our money on it, we trade up. We started putting about $30,000 down on properties to get them up and running. And by the time we'd sell them, we'd be able to pull out $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 from a single home. So 1 becomes 2, 3, or 4. And you go through 2, maybe 3 cycles of that. And you look back and you say, wow, how did I get here so quickly? And it's because of that power of using leverage.
So you're doubling your equity. You're making 100% return on these houses, and you're doing that in what? I'm going to save that question for after the break. We've got it fixing to go through a break here. We're going to talk more about how you can double your net worth, how you can increase your net worth with Chris Wyatt, Lifestyles Unlimited Single Family Mentor.
Warning. Listening to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show will change your life. We will teach you how to create wealth and passive income so you can be financially free. And now, back to your host.
Hey, this is David Ruzicka with Lifestyles Unlimited. I'm really glad to be with you today. If you have a question, I've got Chris Wyatt with me today. He is one of the Lifestyles Unlimited mentors, guy who retired himself in about 3 years and 7 months, and I'm going to ask him about that in just a second. If you have a question for him, call into the show, 855-497-4335. That's 855-497-4335. Also, I'm going to be doing the free workshop on Friday, March 5th at noon. That's this coming Friday. Go to freeworkshoplivestream.com. Sign up for that. Would love to spend some time with you on Friday afternoon. Chris, we were talking right before the break about your investing, and I do want you to kind of walk through that 3 years and 7 months in retiring. How did you do that? And started, by the way, I want to remind people, with a negative net worth and about $60,000 in cash to a net worth of $2 million.
Yeah, so we were very aggressive in our style of investing. We knew what kind of returns it would take. We knew what kind of cash flow it would take. It was, if it didn't meet the criteria, we waited for the next one, or we went on to the next one. So holding to your plan, being consistent, is key to making this business work for you.
You had a mentor during that beginning stages, right?
Oh, yeah.
How did your mentor help you? What did you get from that?
Any questions along the way, I'd send him an email or give him a call, and he was always good. He'd get right back to me. Rick is very experienced. He's still with Lifestyles Unlimited. I work alongside Rick and Lori. We're both mentors now. It's kind of fun to see that go full circle for me. I always felt like the little guy, but here I am working with him now.
That's great. And so you wanted to increase your net worth. You wanted to get yourself to retirement. Tell me what that was like when you actually retired from your job. How'd that feel?
Walking out of work on a Friday and not having someplace to go on Monday was a different feeling, to be honest with you. Those first 2 weeks until it really got out of my system was odd.
You were 34 then. My goodness, That's crazy. And so what are your goals? I mean, you wanted to get retired. What are your personal goals right now? You told me about your 13-year-old son, kind of what you're doing with him. What are your personal goals with your real estate investing?
Yeah, so this year we're going to do at least 4 single-family homes. I have a 13-year-old son who's my oldest, and he's becoming a partner in those deals. So every one I buy, he gets to put some money in and see those returns. He's worked hard at mowing lawns with me. He's employed me for the last few summers, mowing lawns with him. So he's putting that money to work, and he's getting the thrills of passive income and then the big equity captures when when we turn and sell the properties off. We want to continue to be lead investors. That might not be a term that most people out there understand, but going after apartment communities and taking a rundown community and turning it into safe and affordable workforce housing, and giving people a place that they can call home, whether it's single family or multifamily. We're going to be doing it.
That's great. And when you say lead investor, you're raising money from other Lifestyles members and you're doing all the work. And as passive investors, they just sit back and you get a small override for that. And as passive investors, they just receive whatever income and capital gains as well and the tax benefits of that investment. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you do something that's really remarkable. You're buying single family houses. In the Dallas market, people expect $30,000 out of pocket, $45,000 out of pocket, $60,000 out of pocket. And you're buying houses in the middle of Corona, by the way, this last year, for $15,000 out of pocket. How in the world do you do that?
I go after really rough properties. So typically I can see the dirt through the floor and the sun through the ceiling. And, they've got a lot of issues. So I really think a lot of people will go out and they'll take a look at it and they'll say, nope, and they just walk away. One of the ones I bought in November, I bought it off the MLS. It was $14,000 out of pocket for me.
You found it on MLS. Anybody else could find it that way. You didn't go through a wholesaler. You didn't go through Lifestyles. You just found it yourself by looking at the MLS listing.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Yeah, so most people would walk up to that house, and before they took the first step onto the porch, they'd turn around and walk away. They had 7 cats, 2 rabbits, and an old dog, and they just had free reign of the house. But, I found a realtor. He took me in there. He's a good friend of mine. And we walked the house together, and he made an offer, and they didn't bite. And we waited a couple of days, and I said, well, maybe I can make an offer on it. And they bit, and we did some negotiations, and we came up a little, and they came down a lot. And it's going to be a great little house.
And what is your out-of-pocket on that?
That one was $14,000.
$14,000.
Another one this coming week for about $10,000. Somewhere between 7 and 10. The numbers haven't completely worked out, but the initial numbers were about $7,000 out of pocket for the one we're closing on this week. I think a lot of people looked at it, and a lot of people walked away from it. It's being held together by a come-along, so it needs a lot of work. It needs some additional framing, which most investors don't want to. They're either scared of it because they're new, or they don't have a crew, or whatever. So we tend to pick up some of these bigger rehabs that are older and need a lot of work.
And what is your equity capture on either one of those or both?
They're close to about 300% equity capture on everything we're buying now. Our cash flows are typically between 50 and 80% of the money we put into it on an annualized basis.
Wow, that's tremendous. In fact, I had a guy tell me this the other day. He said, I'm just kind of waiting until this Corona thing dies out, and then I'll start investing. What would you say to somebody like that?
There is never a bad time to start investing. The best time to start is today. I wish I could have had 2011 back. I wish I could have had 2012 back. I wish I could have had 2013, but I can't. I wish I would have bought more in 2015 and 2016. So now, I buy everything I can. So a person sitting out there on the sidelines, let me just reiterate what Chris is saying. Go to the free workshop, freeworkshoplivestream.com. It is free, and you can hear how we set you up to be successful in doing just what Chris did, because Chris is not a magic person. He's not smarter than everybody else. He may be smarter than anybody else. I don't know. But he is certainly doing tremendous work and getting tremendous returns, and we teach you what you need to know to be able to do that. So I want to encourage you to do that. Chris, tell me, why should somebody join Lifestyles Unlimited? So I think if you're going to go out and spend somewhere between $15,000 and $40,000 on an investment, you should probably have some kind of education. I didn't pull the trigger because I was too scared, and then I got the education, and I've moved very quickly since. And it's not just the education, it's the mentoring. It's having someone there that can beat you over the head if you're going to make a bad decision, or they can help you negotiate to make a good deal be a great deal, or a poor deal become a winning deal.
Yeah, just a really easy example of that. This last week, I had a plumbing issue, and because I had a Lifestyles mentor to talk to, it saved me $9,500. $9,500 because I surround myself with successful, like-minded people. Hang with us through the break. We're going to continue with Chris Wyatt, who retired himself in 3 years and 7 months and is a Lifestyles mentor.
Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. It's time to turn up the volume and fine-tune your passive income plan so you can create the lifestyle you've always wanted.
Glad to be with you this afternoon. This is David Ruzicka. I'm your host with Lifestyles Unlimited. If you have a question for Chris Wyatt, one of our single-family mentors, 855-497-4335. Any questions you have, you can give us a call and love to hear from you. Chris, right before the break, I asked you why someone should join Lifestyles Unlimited, and you actually mentioned something the other day that I actually talk about in the free workshop from Andrew Carnegie, and that is the idea of a mastermind group. Explain that to us.
Yeah, so Lifestyles is full of investors of all forms, and each of us are in a different state within that investment progression. I have KPs on my deals, key partners or key principals or general partners if you're more from the industry, that have net worths 20, 30, 40 times of mine. But they still work with me, and I work with them. And I learn from them. and they pull me up. Very different from the corporate world. And I've got people that I work with that are, where I was just 6-7 years ago. They're just starting out. They're getting their feet wet. They're getting over their fears, and they're being brought up. And it's an amazing group, not just because you've got the opportunities, but what you can learn from each other.
That is an amazing thing because you're able to interact with people within lifestyles who, if you are in the outside world and you have maybe a small net worth and you're talking to somebody that has a multi-million-dollar net worth, if you just called them on the phone or met them on the street, probably would never be able to get any answers from them. But because Lifestyles is all about surrounding yourself with successful, like-minded people, that kind of attitude is really prevalent here. And that's one thing that makes people really successful with Lifestyles Unlimited. And you said something else. You said they're not going to give you dollar bills, but you can pick up their spare change. What does that mean?
Yeah, so, every now and again we'll leave change in a bucket or, drop something. And it's only a penny, it's only 2 pennies. Well, multi-millionaires, they might drop $1 or $2 or a $20 bill floats away. And you can start getting rich off of those. Sometimes they're nuggets that come from experience. Sometimes they're nuggets that come from mentoring. Sometimes it's joining with you on a deal. And when the harbor's full, all boats float. It's one of those deals. Just beyond that, it's so much more than just the networking. I've never been in a group where pretty much anyone will open their books to you. I mean, there is complete transparency with every member of this group, and it's something I've never seen before.
You don't have competitors doing that out in the outside world. Walk me through what mentoring looks like. I joined Lifestyles Unlimited as a challenge member. I'm in your region, which is the Dallas area. Walk me through what happens from the beginning kind of till I get on my feet.
Yeah, so first off, you're going to come in, we're going to get you oriented. You're going to learn how to use our portal system, understand how the classes are built, which ones you need to take up front. And then we're going to sit down, we're going to have a one-on-one meeting together, and we're going to design your map. So folks coming in that don't have a lot of money like me when I started, $50,000, $60,000, up to $100,000, we're going to get you really targeted on single-family homes, and we're going to focus on what you need. You might have a spouse that needs to get out of work ASAP, and they only need to make $1,500 a month. We're going to tailor a plan for that. Or you might be a young individual like I was, early 30s, late 20s, and you've got years that you can still burn, that 5 years or less map, that works totally for you. So we're going to go for maybe a little bit, shave off a little bit of that cash flow, but really focus on equity capture and growth. We're going to teach you everything along the way, how to build your team, how to work with contractors, who to call and when to call during the entire process. And we're going to teach you how to lease it out. We're going to teach you that if you're a busy person, you can still be part of this business and just build a deeper team around you.
That's great. And you said you kind of threw it out, and I said, wait, you really do that? And you said, no, I don't do that, but you really do. You sometimes you kill deals for investors. Tell me what you meant by that.
If somebody brings something to me that isn't a good deal, or they said, I need equity capture, I'm okay with cash flow, but I want to build my net worth, and they bring a deal to me that's 8% equity capture and maybe $250 a month in cash flow, I'm going to thump them on the head and remind them this is not what you wanted. Why are you going after shiny penny syndrome? Just because it's a deal doesn't mean it's your deal. And we pull those things back, pull them back into reality. Now, there is the occasional time when you might get something under contract, you're going through feasibility, and you find all sorts of things that the budget doesn't support. We will, have those frank conversations. This is really something that's a viable deal. Real estate's a numbers game, so the numbers don't lie. X, Y, Z go in, ABC come out, and if ABC are anywhere negative, you just don't do the deal.
I want to really hit on that. Folks, if you're listening, this is huge. This is just really an amazing opportunity for you, because what this is going to do is save you thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's going to save you time. It's going to get you on your way a lot faster, because you're going to avoid the costly mistakes that the average kind of, I want to say, mom and pop investor makes. You read books, you go out and you start investing, and you don't know what you're looking at. You don't know what you're doing. And like Chris just said, the shiny penny syndrome, you see, oh, this looks like a good deal, but it's not a deal that's going to get you where you want to go. I mentioned before the break, I called another Lifestyles member who I've worked with a lot, saved me $9,500 last week. Literally $9,500 on a kind of a plumbing issue. He said, no, that's not the way you fix that. You do this instead. And I did it, and it cost me a couple of dollars when I could have spent a whole lot more money. That's the power of having a mentor. It gets you where you want to go. That's how Chris retired in 3 years and 7 months and not at age 34 instead of age 65. Now, tell us a little bit, Chris, right now, what are you doing right now with your investing? You talked about turning your entire portfolio.
Yeah, this year we've committed to sell everything off.
Tell us what everything is first.
We currently have in our portfolio 5 single-family homes and a 16-unit community, and we've got some passive deals that are set to sell off as well. That's where we put money in other people's apartment communities. They've gone full cycle, and they're going to write us the big checks now. So when everything sells off, we're just going to go out and buy more. That's where that 2 becomes 4. We've done the 1 becomes 2, and now it's the 2 becomes 4. So we're really pushing to continue that growth pattern. We've got it good right now. Del always says, don't let a good life get in the way of a great life. We're going for that great life. We talked about it at the beginning. We've got that big why. We've got the legacy thing. We've got therapies and things like that we need to take care of. And on top of that, having a decent amount of funds to play with is fun too.
And tell me this, why in the world are you actually a mentor at all? I mean, you could just be doing your investing and you're looking at doubling your net worth from $2 million to $4 million. Why not just focus on you and do that?
So I think everybody wants to be appreciated in life or have something that lifts them up. And I spent my corporate years in really final mile deliveries where everything was late and behind and nobody was ever appreciative. And I came out of that industry and I said, if I ever go back to work, I'm going to do something where it's uplifting and people find it, can enjoy my presence instead of just yelling at me. And I get a high level of satisfaction out of being a mentor at Lifestyles Unlimited because I'm helping people change their lives for the better. I can educate someone that might be in their 60s and has no hope whatsoever for that $400,000 401k to retire them at any stage in their life. And we can walk through a plan and show them that within 3 to 5 years, they can truly be retired and have a better income than what they have now. Or I can talk to that individual that was, like I was in their late 20s, early 30s, and show them you don't have to work till you're 65 or 70. You can get out of the rat race, quit climbing that corporate ladder in 3 to 5 years in your early 30s. So I find that very rewarding.
Yeah, I imagine so. That's tremendous. Giving back. And that's one thing that we talk about at Lifestyles Unlimited as well, is giving back. We believe in an abundance mentality. As Chris said earlier, people open their books. They're completely transparent because we believe there's enough for everybody. And so we're not competing this game. Hey, guys, you got so much good information today from Chris Wyatt. Chris, thanks so much for being with us on the show. Go to freeworkshoplivestream.com. Sign up for the workshop. I'm teaching the one on March 2nd, but they're all good. So sign up for one of those. We want to get you on your way to financial freedom. Have a great day.
The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.